You know how we regularly do injury suck?
What?
You know how we do injury suck?
Yeah.
Regularly, the segment? Today happens to be one of those days where a lot of guys are actually returning. We'll get to some of them later, but there were a few that I just had mentioned here at the top on my notes. Cal Raleigh coming back from his oblique. They're still missing Brendan Donovan, but the Mariners are in basically the same spot as last year. So, M's fans, you're good.
And the division's worse.
And division's, I would say, worse, if not
significantly
much worse. The A's are starting to ball out a little bit. Nick Kratz is 6 homers in his last 8 games, 2 yesterday, 5 ribbies, 440-something OBP.
OBP's never been his problem.
No.
Strikeouts. He strikes out a lot, but
he's an outcomes guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the top of that list.
Oh, yeah.
Him and your boy Murakami do that right. Right? If you're going to be 3 true outcomes, do it like Nick Kratz and Murakami if you can.
Yes.
Drake Baldwin coming back.
Yes.
I don't know. Did he play 1 rehab game?
They're probably like, everyone's hurt. We need you.
I know he
Definitely
smoked the ball
out.
like 110 exit velocity. They're like, all right, he's good.
Yep.
Hitting the ball hard.
It's like, if you hit a ball hard, let's go.
Go
So
rehab
there's
against big league teams.
Yeah. Rehab. Rated, overrated, underrated.
I think it matters.
You do?
I think, depends on how long you're out. I think most people need at least 2 games.
Okay.
At least 2 games.
He played one.
Some guys,
He got 3 at-bats.
Mm-hmm.
some guys don't. But the thing for him, though, is the catching. Like, just jumping back in after missing, like, over a month, like, not catching. It's been just under a month, sorry. Because I think he went out on May 18th. He hasn't caught 9 innings. That's going to be for me, they were the problem.
So they'll probably manage the workload.
Maybe just DH him to start.
You could do some of that. He certainly deserves everyday ABs if he looks like he did before the injured list stint.
Yeah, true.
So there's some returns. We'll get to some others later, and there were some injuries, of course. But let's start with star performances.
Charging the mound.
Yeah, we're charging the
Walk
mound
down,
with
said,
Dustin
How you
May.
feeling?
Dustin May going CG. Look
Yeah.
at the CGs lately.
Yeah,
9 Ks, 1 hit, 1 walk.
he was dealing.
He was carried in a perfect game into the 7th. I was going to say no, but it was perfect. Machado broke it up. Well, a walk to Tatis and Machado.
Yeah.
Knock. Broke it up in the 7th.
But this is the thing with the great job, Dustin May, but this is the thing with the Padres. They don't hit. We talked about it, I think, yesterday, where we're like, oh, Kratz said, Gavin Sheets. I'm waiting on Gavin Sheets. But they don't hit. They don't hit consistently enough. And when you have Manny and Tatis and Merrill all struggling, it's a hard way to live, man.
You know who they're missing.
Luis Ariz?
It shows. I'm sorry. Some people owe me apologies about Luis Ariz. Spoke about him in the offseason. You don't agree?
No. You think Luis Ariz changes this lineup?
Yes.
Stop. He's a great piece. He's a great piece to add to your lineup, but he's not. People are like, oh, the Padres lineup is deadly with Luis Ariz. No, it's just another swingles hitter. Swing and sway and hit your singles. They need some thump, and they have thump. It's just crazy that these guys don't thump. As a team, they make a collective effort to stay in the at-bat. They make a collective effort to not strike out. At some point, we need these guys to be able to help their starting pitchers go past 4 or 5 innings because their bullpen's delicious, but their offense is just, it's not there right now.
It's not. It's been a struggle for him. Sorry, it has. It's been a struggle for him.
Luis Ariz, I mean, he's going to take the first pitch. He's going to hit a single. Oh, he's their best. Like, if you add him to their lineup right now, Scott, you can't tell me that you're like, ooh, the West, top spot in the wild card, it's yours.
I think you guys are overstating it. I'm saying when I'm watching a game with the Padres, pitchers get in such a rhythm sometimes against them. You're like, are they going to do anything? any traffic? Because that's what we're looking at. There's a power problem for years, right? That was a problem last year. But it's beyond that. Now you're starting to see a team that can't get on base. Luis Arraez can get on base. I mean, this year.
He doesn't get on base, no. He doesn't get on base. He's an average guy.
I know, but he's 319, 352, 435.
Yeah, but where's Crone Zone? They need Crone Zone.
Well,
he was an on-base guy.
That's another one.
Justin May was supposed to be an on-base guy. Right?
Yeah, he hasn't been.
Their catchers, there's just a lot of holes on this team. That's why I said it a couple weeks ago. Remember I said, are they fool's gold? Do we really believe in the Padres or do we not believe in the Padres? And slowly but surely they've kind of,
They can pitch.
I want to believe in them. I do. I want to see this team. I want to see this fan base that's supported this team. I want to see them succeed. I think they've built a devastating bullpen for the playoffs. I think their starting pitching is how it is. I love Michael King. I want to see this team succeed with all the athletes that they have and how the team was built, but I don't see it. I don't see where this turnaround is going to be. I think they can make the playoffs, but I want to see them go deep into the playoffs. I want to see how the team was built, have success, so other teams are like, okay, well, we can do that too.
Yeah, Cronenworth will help if he figures the concussion symptom situation out. Did you see the batting average board while Kratz was talking?
It's not very good.
Tatis is 279. Nobody else is over 230.
That's crazy.
230. Nobody else.
They had one of the best hitting coaches, and I'm not blaming the hitting coach. But they had Victor Rodriguez, who for me was one of the best. They got rid of him for a guy who's Steven Souza, who's played in the big leagues. I get that. He hit a lot of homers in the big leagues, but he's never been a hitting coach at this level. And there's something to that, especially on a team that's trying to win. Unless you have a guy that's really been a hitting coach and really done some things. Again, I'm not blaming him, but from what I've heard, he's gone heavy analytics. We've already seen Manny Machado come out and say it's not all about analytics, so maybe there's something to it. I don't know. It's just an easy blame, and I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't take the easy way out, but they can't hit.
Yeah, that's part of it. It's a whole village. It's the personnel, it's the coaching. All of that can contribute to the lack of hitting. Let's do a little positive, though. Dustin May, off-season signing.
He's been great for the Cardinals since he got there. He's been awesome. He's kind of like the one veteran guy they have in their rotation. I guess him and Liberatore. But if he's healthy, this is the potential that everyone saw if he could stay healthy. And right now he's healthy and he's dealing.
Yeah, remember last year he was dealt to Boston and he didn't really pitch well there. I mean, how many starts did he make? 5 and a relief appearance, close to 30 innings, 5.5-ish ERA. Red Sox fans were like, bye. And now, as you can see, our friend Gabriel Starr, who covers the Red Sox, said the list of pitchers who struggle with the Red Sox and then become elite immediately with a new team is longer than a CVS receipt, and that's a long receipt. We've spoken a lot about Harrison, but it's time to give Dustin May some flowers here. 3.75 earned run average, 81 2/3 innings. This guy's got it right now. He's been really, really solid for a team that can bang. So, Kratz, what do you need? Guys that are going to put up innings, and keep you in games. Dustin May doing that to a T as we check out the rotation here right now and then click in on May. But others too, right? I think Palante is pitching tonight. There's some guys that, most aren't paying attention to that are helping the Cardinals stay in the mix, and it's why the Cardinals and the Nationals hold playoff seats right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I couldn't be more surprised. I think Dustin May, I thought he was going to give them solid innings. The question was always, will he stay healthy? Which hasn't been the case for his career. He lines himself to throw, if he can throw his 30 starts here, that would be just a massive turnaround for him. It just seems like he's not afraid to throw strikes in the zone, and just like the rest of this rotation, they don't really rack up a lot of strikeouts. They're not afraid of contact, which is such an old school mentality that I think a lot of people are surprised by it. I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't know how it's going to last, including me. You got to strike dudes out. but it's not the end-all be-all. And if you're only throwing pitches for strikeouts, you're never going to get to where Dustin May got yesterday, to the 9th inning, because it takes a lot of pitches to try to rack up strikeouts and try to get swings and misses.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but their defense is so good.
Because their guys are actually playing.
Their defense is so good. So sometimes though, even, strikeouts, yes, it's great if you get strikeouts, obviously. But if you have a team that can put the ball in play and you have a team that just catches everything, you don't really necessarily need, now when the playoffs it's nice and there's certain times where it's nice, but man, it's nice if if a pitcher, what do they always tell? Let them put it in play, right? Forever. Let them put it in play, we'll catch it. Well, the Cardinals, you know what they do? They catch it.
Mm-hmm.
They catch it everywhere.
They catch, they hit, and they're pitching well enough to be here right now.
And Jordan Walker should be in the All-Star game.
Yeah, of course.
He's not even, I think he's like 6 or 7 in the voting.
Him and James Wood need to get more attention.
Of course.
So we'll look at that. Can we get the Dustin May quote? It's like 5 seconds. Let's run it.
He walked down and said, "How you feel?" I said, "Is that a question? Like, I'm going back out there." I felt great. It was a good outing, great defense, great team win.
As I checked in with him just to make sure he had enough in the tank, it was a 3-second conversation. But, man, when you're feeding off of the outing, it's a Monday night. This place the energy was awesome, and I appreciate it. I can tell you our players appreciate it. The place was fun to play in, and you have the tarps off section. I mean, by the 9th inning, that place was packed out, so you feed off of all of that. I asked him if he had enough in the tank. He gave me a quick glance, and I walked away.
6 biggest differences, 2026 to 2025. Looking at this year back to last year. Walk rate, down a lot. Out of zone swing percentage, up a lot. Talking about Dustin May. Of course, expected batting average is going to go down a lot when we're going over these stats. Velocity, up a tick and change, almost 1.5 points. Slugging percentage, down a lot. Barrel percentage, down a lot. Those are some big key stats Dustin May is looking at right now that are working for him. He joins a new party here. He had been with the Dodgers for a long time, Red Sox for a second, and then with St. Louis. What did he tell us? He didn't feel like he was doing what he wanted to do. Wasn't he one of those guys? Sometimes you ask, the pitchers are interesting because you got the team philosophy, the pitcher thinks they know themselves, and there's the back and forth there sometimes where it seems like, hey, we've got the answer for you. Am I wrong on this one, Kratz?
I think that was Kyle Harrison said he wasn't doing what the Red Sox were kind of making him do what you're talking about from spring training when we talked to him, right?
We talked to Dustin May, though. I don't know.
No, I remember
it was both of them. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't remember him saying that, but yeah.
No, I don't remember him saying that either.
But you do have to pitch.
Maybe he did say that. I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of years.
You do have to pitch your game. I don't care if AJ's your catcher or if I'm your catcher. If a pitcher's out there and they're like, he just never calls what I want to throw. This organization they're never shifted where I want to be shifted. Move them. It's your career.
That's right. True. Well, props to the Cardinals. They're going to be buyers right now at the trade deadline, light buyers. And for more on them and the rest of the trade happenings, Ken Rosenthal getting ready. Support for today's episode comes from Square, and they've got big news. During Square's biannual releases event, they launched a wave of innovative new tools to help local businesses run faster, smarter, and more profitably. Square is awesome around Orlando, where AJ and I live. We go to the farmers markets around town. I go to the one near Lake Eola. It's awesome. I use Square to pay with my phone. I get the receipt right away. It's great.
And so many businesses, not just small businesses, use this. So many restaurants and businesses I walk into, not only in Orlando, but all over the country, have these, and you just use your credit card, pops out a receipt, emails it right to you. It's so fast, it's so efficient, it's so hassle-free. It's one of the great things that you have going.
Square launched its most powerful tools yet, designed to give local businesses a competitive edge without the complexity. If you're ready to sell smarter, run faster, and stress less right now, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/foul. That's square.com/go/FOUL. Run your business smarter with Square. Get started today. As we do, we'll mix in some injury updates throughout some of these breaks. Dave Roberts yesterday said Edwin Diaz coming along really well, set to throw a bullpen this week. Still looking at post-All-Star break return for him. Encouraged with his progress. Tyler Glasnow is still not throwing or making much progress with his back injury. Remember, it was like we didn't even know if he was going to go on the IL.
And it wasn't even like a thing.
He goes down. Always curious. I mean, maybe we'll get Tyler at some point to ask him about that. And then Tommy Edman, back today. Edman's back. They're going to –
I forgot he was even on the Dodgers.
I know. He's good.
I know.
They're going to work him in. He's going to play a few different positions, a little infield, a little outfield, a few days a week, ramp up.
Okay. Welcome back. Yeah, I forgot that he was even on the team, honestly. Has it been so long?
It's been a minute. And, and he was bothered by things last year too, but still helpful. Miggy Rowe, by the way, yesterday had the big pinch hit dinger. That was a good game. Dodgers-Rays.
Mm-hmm. Two good teams.
Yeah. Eric Lauer, quality start.
Mm-mm.
It's weird.
Nobody wanted him?
He gets to start and not having an opener. And
the Dodgers got him like for free.
I know.
Nobody wanted him?
Nobody wanted him.
It's not a money thing.
Most teams don't need starters, though. They don't need...
Especially quality left-hander ones that were good last year,
No. They don't need those.
Did anybody watch him last year?
No.
I'm
Clearly
befuddled
not.
on that one. The Dodgers ended up with him of all people,
It's unfair.
of all teams.
Scott.
It's unfair. We need a cap.
Trade season is approaching. It's the Inside Scoop with FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal, who was first to report on the Giants testing the waters, talking to teams about some big names. Ken, let's get into more on what you reported and wrote in The Athletic, as well as the fact that I just want to mention this at the top of the discussion, that the Giants might not wait like some of the other teams do. Buster Posey doesn't care about that trade deadline. If we remember last year, he started swinging way earlier than we usually see.
Well, he's already traded Patrick Bailey, so you can make the case that that's continued this season, that kind of pattern. Now, my understanding and what I wrote is that they are testing the waters, reaching out to teams, just kind of taking teams' temperatures on maybe what they'd be willing to do. They have not yet fully committed to selling, but they are getting closer to that determination. And they're going to be an interesting team here because the question will be how far can they go? How far will they go? Now, we know they have some interesting players on expiring contracts, most notably Luis Arias. He is someone who should be in demand. He has remade himself as a second baseman, continues to be an excellent hitter. Robbie Ray also on an expiring contract. He is a lesser piece. He's making $25 million. He's not having the best of years, but he could perhaps help a team at the back of the rotation. The real question is going to come with, of course, their bigger contracts. Rafael Devers, Willie Adames, Matt Chapman. Would they trade any of those guys? I'm sure they would. Would they get a decent return and accomplish what they want in that kind of deal? That I'm not so sure about. Chapman is the one of those three having the best year by a good bit. He is, by one version of WAR, their team leader in WAR, and the other version, Irise, is the leader, whatever. Chapman's having a good year. Has a lot of money coming to him. Second year of a 6-year, $151 million contract. But you can see where a team in need of a third baseman would say, you know what? Matt Chapman is worth that money. He's that good. Even after his bad start, he's recovered. And if the Giants can pull that off, then they have third base open for Casey Schmidt. So there is going to be a lot of talk around the Giants, just as there's going to be a lot of talk around a lot of teams. And sure, the Giants could pay down contracts and that would help their returns. But at some point, you have to live with what you've done too. You can't just purge all of these guys. It's not going to work. And it would be financially kind of a mess. So I'm interested to see what they do. I'm not certain that it's going to be anything beyond a rise and maybe Ray and maybe a reliever or two. But they certainly have some big pieces they can entertain moving.
Ken, you forgot a name. There was one name you didn't mention, Logan Webb. Is he not? Is there no way they would trade Logan Webb no matter what they got? Because I feel like there'd be a lot of teams out there that would really like to have Logan Webb throwing 7 innings every 5th day.
I would never say no way to any player. Every player is in play at all times. It's just a matter of what you can get back. But when I spoke with someone yesterday who is familiar with the Giants' plans, he said there were 0 plans to trade Logan Webb. And he is kind of part of the fabric of that team in a way that is much more significant than Devers, Chapman, or Adames. Logan Webb's homegrown. And he's a guy who signed an extension. He's someone who wants to be there, has said that. So I don't see it right now. But AJ, you're right. Of all the names we mentioned, who would have the greatest possible value? Logan Webb.
Of those people that you had talked about, you had said Chapman, you had said Arise, you had said Adames. Who is leaning that they would be most inclined to get rid of just because they're like, okay, I'd like to get out from underneath that contract? Would it be Devers? Would it be Adames?
I would say all of the above, Eric, to be perfectly honest. And if they could get out of any one of them, they'd probably be happy. But lots of luck. There's a lot of money coming to these guys, and Devers and Adames have underperformed. So where's the value if you're a team looking at them? Maybe you think, okay, if we get our hands on Rafael Devers, he'll be better. And he's been better since the start of the season. But at the same time, it's 5 more years left, 6 more years left. There's a lot of time left on that deal, a lot of time left on Adames's deal. And given the trends, I don't know that you can expect them to be much better players than they've been in the first part of this season.
Ken, Buster Posey's not afraid to act, right? He's one of the few GMs, president of baseball ops. I forget his exact title because they all have crazy titles.
President of baseball ops.
Okay, so he's president of baseball ops, right? He's not afraid to act. Is he that much different? Is that because he was a former player compared to some of these guys who are like, oh, I got to hold on to every little prospect, and then it's too late, and then the prospects become suspects instead of players, right? Is he kind of, I don't want to say a new wave, is he more old school GM, Dave Dombrowski style, versus some of the new guys that are just afraid to make that trade that might hurt them 10 years down the road?
I would say that he doesn't look at it like some of the younger GMs who are forever assessing risk and value and numbers on everything. He's not quite that. It's not that he ignores the numbers. No team ignores the numbers, but he certainly is someone who has, yes, shown he is not afraid. And I asked him about this in spring training. I sat down with him to interview. I said, hey, you've taken some big swings here. And he doesn't really look at it like that. He looks at it as, this is the way I'm trying to improve my team. So he is not afraid. And he does have the security of being Buster Posey. If this doesn't work, it doesn't work. He can step down. He'll still be Buster Posey, likely Hall of Famer, and all of that. So I would say, yes, AJ, he is more risk averse than some of the younger GMs that are out there, but he doesn't necessarily see these things as risks. And if you look at them individually, and I wrote this earlier, every one of these moves he's made, and some of them have backfired, but every one of them was defensible at the time. Rafael Devers, why did you trade for him? Well, you couldn't really sign a big free agent hitter. Willie Adames, he was one free agent hitter who took their money. And yes, he probably was overpaid, but why was he overpaid? Because they couldn't get anybody to take their money. So we all understood these moves at the time, and I certainly expected Devers to be better. But so far, it's not working that way. And one thing we know about Buster Posey, he's not going to simply look at this and say, you know what, let's just keep trying. Keep going about it the way we're going about it. It's working well. No. If it's not working well, he's going to adjust.
Right. Somebody that's not afraid of making moves is Dave Dombrowski over in Philly. Can you give us a range? Because people look at, okay, they need an outfielder. Are they willing to go the route of all offensive outfielder, no defensive? Is it going to be trying to make that big splash move that Dave usually does? Or is it something completely out of the ordinary that we haven't even heard about yet?
I'm not sure, Eric, to be perfectly honest. And right now, just last weekend, they traded for Derek Hill of the White Sox. He is clearly not a big answer, but he can be part of a temporary solution and maybe even a solution for the rest of the season. Now, They are a team that struck out essentially with Adolis Garcia. He was not good, and then of course he got hurt and is now probably lost for the season. And even with Brandon Marsh becoming one of the league's best hitters, their outfield is way below par. So they do need to do something. And Dombrowski is someone who routinely will go for moves that he thinks will put his team over the top. That is how he does it. I remember one of his assistants once telling me, Dave likes to top off a club. And that is true. That is, we've seen throughout his history. So yes, I expect him to go out there and try to get the best outfielder he can. I don't know if he's worried about offense, defense. He wants offense out of that spot, clearly. Will he do it at the sacrifice of defense? He's done it before with Castellanos, others. So I can see that happening. The question with the Phillies is their system is not all that great right now. And are they going to be in position to make that kind of trade? They've made some pretty big trades in recent years. Duran was one, of course, and some others as well. I'm not sure with Aiden Miller, their shortstop prospect, essentially having a lost year so far, that they really have enough to do something big. But guys like Dave Dombrowski and AJ Preller, they always seem to find players to trade and do the moves that they think are necessary.
I always try to bring up the hypotheticals. Any chance Dave Dombrowski makes the big move by going into his clubhouse and saying, we can find offense at first base. Bryce, would you be willing to play the outfield for a half a season? Or is that ship sailed?
I don't necessarily think that ship has sailed. And Bryce Harper has said in the past that if the Phillies acquired a quality first baseman, that he would move back to the outfield on a temporary basis. He was willing to do it even for Pete Alonso if they had signed him as a free agent. I think it was the first time that Alonso was a free agent. So I don't know that I would rule it out. Bryce Harper's defensive metrics this season are not very good. I talked to some Phillies people about that this week, and they said, well, he actually is playing better than his metrics show. He had some issues early. He's kind of cleaned it up. Whatever. Is he an elite defensive first baseman? No, he is not. So could he move back to the outfield? I'm sure he could, and that is one way to go about this. It would be temporary, in my estimation. It seems to me that he wants his long-term position, Bryce does, to be first base, but he has left that door open in the past, yes.
Ken, another team in the NL that we already talked about today who can't seem to hit is the Padres. What are the Padres going to do at this deadline? It's going to be fascinating. Preller doesn't sit there and do nothing. He always is trying to wheel and deal, but do they have pieces to trade? It always seems like he finds those. And can they find offense on this market somewhere?
The real question for starters is, with about 7 weeks to go, is this team going to be worthy of reinforcement? And that's a real question right now. They have not hit for whatever reason. It's curious, right? They have really good hitters. Machado, Merrill, all these guys, they should be better than where they are. We know that. They know that. But if it's one of those seasons where it's not working, well, then maybe he doesn't go all in and do his usual thing. We'll see in the coming weeks just how they play and just the approach that AJ Preller is willing to take. Now, does he have players to trade? Maybe not as many as before, but he always seems to find them. I don't believe they will trade Ethan Salas. He's their top catching prospect, one of the top catching prospects in the game. He has regained his status as that this season, and he is still so young and so promising. And that's a position where they are not exactly settled. So that would seemingly be something they would not do, but he does always seem to find players to move when he is trying to win. Now, I'm not saying he wouldn't be trying to win, but if they're not going to be a team that looks like they're going to be worthy, even with reinforcements, then what are you doing? You're spinning your wheels.
Chaim Bloom went to the Red Sox, and in 2021, they went to the playoffs. Chaim Bloom now takes over with the Cardinals. I know he was kind of in the minor leagues last year, and it seems like the Cardinals are going to the playoffs again. If that continues, does Chaim Bloom need to be given more flowers for what he has done in 2 different locations, even though Red Sox fans or ownership wanted to push him out of Boston?
Well, I've always believed he got a bad rap in Boston and that he did more good things than people gave him credit for. Traded for Wilyer Abreu, drafted and developed Roman Anthony, Connolly early, a number of others. I don't know if Peyton Tolley.
Marcelo
I think
Meyer.
Peyton Tolley was after Marcelo Meyer, and Christian Campbell, who has still not made it, but he was part of the group of players that Chaim Bloom brought in. So he was in a difficult spot there, as presidents of baseball operations, GMs often are in Boston. You've got a team that wants to win, or an ownership that wants to win, and ownership wants to also keep the farm system flowing. And Chaim Bloom, in my estimation, kind of got caught in between with those mixed messages that he was getting. There wasn't one clear direction, and that direction would seem to shift. So he's done a good job, or did a good job, in Boston. This team is in large part the handiwork of John Mozeliak. Of course, some of their younger players who are now coming to the fore, but Bloom deserves credit for finally committing to the direction that they took, which was rebuilding. They traded Arenado, traded Contreras, traded Sonny Gray, traded Brandon Donovan, and now, even after all that, they have a team that is competitive at the major league level. They have a much better farm system, and he's going to want to keep going and not necessarily push forward at a time when they still consider themselves working toward that better, sustainable future. Yet, even with all that, if they're in contention, if they are in 7 weeks what they are right now, he's not going to ignore that. He can't ignore that. You can't look your players and your coaching staff and your fans in the eye and say, you know what? We're good this year, but I'd like to be better in 2 years. No, the opportunities to even make the playoffs are rare, and you have to seize them. Doesn't mean you go all in and you trade all your prospects, but you can do things, and there are other teams in this position as well. The White Sox, the Nationals. If they are still competitive, they're going to enhance their rosters. They just might not do them in a meaningful, dramatic way, but they'll try to tweak and they'll try to get better.
There's my questions, Ken. Are you feeling okay? Are you sick? Have you felt under the weather for about the last 36 hours, Ken?
I have not.
Wow, because you gave the White Sox a lot of props the other day, Ken. So I just want to make sure that you weren't sick. Maybe you got bit by a mosquito or something. Your mind went foggy.
You've got White Sox derangement syndrome against people who you think might have been against the White Sox in the past. I'm not against any team. I'm not for any team. I cover the sport.
Okay, well, what do you think the White Sox are going to do? You kind of mentioned it there. You said they're going to try to make little tweaks. Does a little tweak mean a bullpen arm, a starter, another bat? Like, what does a tweak mean?
In their case,
I could tweak my hamstring, and it doesn't mean a whole lot, right?
Right, and they would probably want to do, all those teams, I don't want to mischaracterize this, they probably would want to do more than a tweak, but they don't want to do something, I don't know, major. So the White Sox, they are a team that offensively, even without Murakami and Kyle Teal, has continued to score runs, continued to play really well. Their deficiency is in the pitching staff, both starting and relief. And I could see them trying to get both, frankly. And who knows, maybe for a rental, even one like a Freddie Peralta, maybe they're willing to trade one top prospect to get a guy like Peralta for a push. Doesn't seem like the path that they would go down. It's, again, a short-term thing that might not even pay off. And what are you doing trading prospects when you need them? But they are a team that will draft number one in the draft in July. And they've got already a good number of middle infield types. Now, not all of them will reach the majors. Not all of them will play for the White Sox. And at some point, you'll have to pick and choose, especially if they draft one in July. But the question is, are they ready to take that kind of step? Because, of course, middle infielders can play other positions. They're among the most skilled athletes on the team, even ahead of catchers. So I don't know what they're going to do. And it's going to depend, again, all of these things will depend on just how these teams are playing at the time. Are they still competitive, or are they starting to fade? And does it appear to be something of a waste to go and make that kind of move?
Ken, August 8th. Do you know what August 8th is?
I don't, Age. Is it your birthday? What is it?
No, Ken. No, my birthday. You know my birthday. You know it's not August 8th. You send me nothing every year, Ken. So we know this. August 8th is the day that they're going to retire Ozzie Guillen's number in Chicago. Do you know that Fox picked that game up? for Fox. It's against the Guardians. Ken, will you be there with me to call that game?
AJ, you're ahead of me because I don't have any assignments for August yet. Do you?
I do.
I've got nothing.
Oh, Ken, that's.
I'd like to be at that game. Is it in? It's obviously in Chicago. I would like
in
to be
Chicago.
At that game.
They're retiring Ozzy's number. I may or may not have to speak before the game.
Ooh. Oh my
And then
goodness.
I'm gonna have to. Then I'm gonna have to
What
run
else?
right.
What
up
else
to
is
the
on our
booth.
schedule that day? Do you know? What's the other game?
I don't know, Ken. I just worry about myself, like most people should. If you just worried about yourself, this world would be a lot better place.
All
Ken.
about AJ.
Okay. Well, I'll check in when the World Cup is over. Maybe I'll get my schedule from Fox.
Those games,
They're a
what's
little
the
busy
window?
right now.
I can usually find
If
it.
you look on, usually it tells you on MLB.
Which ones are Fox?
They
Well, 'cause,
usually.
I mean, Ken, there's a Braves Yankees matchup. At
Yeah,
3
Ken,
o'clock
you ain't
that
missing
day.
Braves Yankees for Guardians White Sox.
Well, we might not have that game though. You don't know that.
That's true. Yeah, I'm just throwing games out there on the fly here right now. But Ken, I've been in the business a while. If I had to take a guess when I'm looking at the
Yeah, hold on. Let me peruse something here real quick, Ken.
Ken has much better.
Actually, Scott,
better
to see
things to
AJ
do.
give his speech, I might ask for special
Houston-
dispensation. And
I
the ability
mean,
to
right
go to
now,
Chicago.
Houston, San Diego, Ken is one.
okay,
I don't see that one.
Giants, maybe.
but you don't have the schedule.
Well, I was looking at the Fox schedule, but it's changed since I received
Oh.
it. So
All right. Well, this as riveting as this is, Ken, maybe we'll table this and we can bring this into a conversation later in the week to go over the August Fox schedule for Ken.
Orioles,
Maybe let's never
Rangers.
talk about
Orioles,
the Fox
Rangers is
schedules.
the other game. You're definitely going to Texas.
Oh, really?
No,
Yeah.
No, I'm
Or
not.
Or Tigers, Giants. Those are the three.
I actually think he's going to be with you.
I do
Ooh.
too.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm gonna have fans fired up to see Ken.
I'll wear my AJ Pierzynski jersey so I can be the one.
Yes,
That's right.
Wow.
That's
There you
right,
go.
Ken. There'll be more than one that day. I
It'll be a
promise
sea
you.
of Pierzynskis.
Oh,
All right, Ken. Well, get ready. You better get that order in now. It's selling out
That's
fast
right.
online. All right.
there'll be more than one that day, Scott.
Kid size, Ken. Make sure you go when you go on Fanatics, you go kid size, okay?
You got it, AJ.
I'd send you one of mine, but I don't want you to sleep in it.
Ken, thank you. Good luck on your Pierzynski jersey search. Talk to you later this week.
Thanks, guys.
That's FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal. Yes, trade talk season. It's here. Thursday, next episode of Fair Territory, 12:30 East Coast time, 9:30 if you wake up on the West Coast and want a little action on asking a question to Ken. That's your spot. Be right back. We'll go over PCA's Cycle. With over 35 million downloads, you know SeatGeek is the spot when you're looking for tickets tonight. And there's some hot tickets for games tonight. I'm going to bring one up to start. Hunter Brown returns for the Astros to a rotation that has an ERA over 7 this month. And he goes up against
Fromber.
Valdez.
Framber
That's a
Valdez.
good game.
How's he
I
gonna
want
get-
that seat.
How's he gonna get a
Oh, big
Ovation?
ovation. Big, huge. He did nothing wrong to Houston fans. And also, he spoke yesterday to like a sea of reporters. They were like, did the Astros call? He was like, nope, nothing in the offseason.
well, we kind of.
We knew that was going to happen.
I mean, there's a game. There's a way bigger game than the game you're talking about. You know who the White Sox play today?
The Yankees.
Do you know who's pitching for the Yankees?
Davis Martin against Garrett Cole.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Do you know who the White Sox are going to avenge? That poor guy that Garrett Cole threw at an A-ball after you took him deep. They're going to fight for. I forget his name.
Oh,
Bomer.
That was the
What
White
was his name?
Sox
Bomer?
affiliate.
He was like a big prospect, right? So they're going
I
to.
didn't know it was
it's
the
a
White
revenge
Sox.
game. It's a revenge game.
Do you think anyone on the White Sox actually
No.
even knows
Caleb
about
Bonemer, I think it's Bonemer. I think
What?
his name is.
They're all young guys. Why would they not know that? I'm going to avenge my
that?
buddy.
I'm asking you guys.
It's a revenge game for the White Sox tonight.
Oh, now I need to watch it because that was trash that he just threw at him. That was trash. The dude was rocking you and it was trash. I love that. I hope, let's see, Braden Montgomery, he's got to know him. He's a Ute. How many Ute? I mean, there's a ton of Utes on the team.
Yeah.
Like they're all young guys, so why would they not know him?
You're right.
Need it.
True. I mean, the Rays, Dodgers, Rasmussen versus Robleski is a good matchup.
Oh, Rasmussen's nasty right now.
And then Guardians at the Brewers. That's a big series
It's a
for the
good one.
Guardians, especially.
It is. That's a good one. So,
Did you see?
yes.
Oh no, I was just gonna say. Did you see Rasmussen? His last 2 starts, 14 innings, 22 punchies. Ha! He's feeling it.
That'll play. Good one. Yeah, there's some good matchups tonight. So go get a ticket. Territory 10, 10% off tickets on SeatGeek. It's MLB's official ticket marketplace. Tickets are fully guaranteed, instantly fulfilled in your account after purchase. That's important. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app. They're with us all season long. 10% off MLB tickets, any of them, when you use that code. Coming up next, we're going to talk about the Diamondbacks. Let's talk D-backs. SI beat writer and Snakes Territory co-host Jack Sommers with us right now. Jack, great to see you. Love the hat. As you can see, I've got the beautiful Snakes Territory shirt too. So let's talk about this team. I like to do just the generic catch-up here first. Where are we at? How are we feeling about the Diamondbacks? Like, do they feel as if they've hit their expectations so far as we get close to the halfway mark of the season?
Well, they certainly don't feel that way. Last night, talking to Torey Lovello, he said, we've yet to play our best baseball. He's still very much dissatisfied with the lack of consistency the team has shown. And, justifiably so. They could be several games better, but they've just been up and down with their situational hitting. They were leading the league up until late May, and then they just went on a horrific slump with runners in scoring position, hit less than 100 for 3 weeks. And so that cost them a number of games. I mean, they could easily be 5, 6, 7 games over 500. Instead they're 2. So they're pretty far off from where they need to be if they're going to really make a run at this thing.
Jack, doesn't every manager say that though? Oh, we haven't played our best baseball. I mean, the 1927 Yankees were probably, whoever their manager was, they're 100. The 2001 Mariners, 116 wins. Lou Piniell's probably we haven't played our best ball yet, right? I mean, doesn't every manager say that to try to keep the team going in the right direction, to keep them motivated? Because honestly, the Diamondbacks have been playing pretty well.
Well, they've been playing really well when they face a sub-500 team. And anytime they face a good team, they're absolutely just about one of the worst records in the league against teams over 500. So, while they have the best record against teams below 500. So it's really been very stark for them as far as where they're getting their wins from. They have to start beating some better pitchers and better teams to really be a legitimate contender, in my view.
They're 10-21 against teams over 500. That's crazy. That's a crazy stat. But I actually didn't run into that. I ran into the road and home split. Is there an issue that they're coming up with, that they're having such struggles on the road compared to so much success at home? Or do they just really enjoy or play better at home and the road is who they are?
I think that's a little bit random. Also might have to do with opponents as well. But, some of these road trips are tough. It's always tough to go east. You go into Miami and then you go into Cincinnati. You look at that and you say, well, they should probably win 4 or 5 of those games. And they end up getting swept in Miami. So that was really tied back to where they were with their situational hitting, I think. There's no specific reason I could pinpoint for why they've been better, so much better at home than on the road, other than the fact that, Corbin Carroll hits an amazing amount of triples and really tears it up in that ballpark.
Jack, is Corbin Carroll, he's their all-star? Is he their all-star? I mean, Ketel Marte has really turned it on. Vargas led the league in hitting for so long. Is Corbin Carroll going to be their all-star representative here in July in Philadelphia?
That's virtually a lock. I mean, he's the guy. He's the best player on the team. He's got, still over a 900 OPS. Been a little up and down for him at times, but overall, he's just performed at that level for most of the season. It's pretty clear cut. He's the guy that's going to represent this team. In the All-Star voting, he only came in, I think, eighth among outfielders, which is pretty amazing to me. I can see why he's maybe not in the top two or three, but it's a little odd to see him all the way down at eighth. So there's no question that he's going to be selected to the All-Star team. Whether or not they'll have a second selection remains to be seen. Marte got hot, but then he really cooled off again. His OPS is in the mid 700s. He's not really kind of getting it done consistently enough. A lot of it was bad luck for a very long time. I mean, he was just hitting the ball on the screws over and over and over again, right at people. But there's also been more chase to his game than in the past. He's on pace to play a career high number of games and plate appearances. He's only played one less game than Perdomo and Carroll, so he's out there every day. Had a great defensive night last night. Just the offensive results haven't been consistent there, and he's pretty far down in the voting. I don't think he's going to make the All-Star team this year.
Jack, do you know why Torey Lovullo felt the need to say that Ketel Marte was a good teammate?
Well, I mean, they defend him when there's issues. He doesn't really get the benefit of the doubt. He had a day off against the Dodgers when Ohtani was pitching. So he got Ohtani-itis for one game, according to most folks. And look, you guys have played, at this level and been players in a major league clubhouse. Him asking to be out, take a night off during that series and for that particular game clearly didn't sit well with at least some of the veterans in the clubhouse. On the other hand, in addition to Torey coming out and defending him, Corbin Carroll came out and said, hey, this is just a media creation. He's fine in the clubhouse. I think that with Ketel, you kind of have a guy that's a little bit like a Ferrari, it can be a little finicky. But he's got a long history of back issues and hamstring issues, and they do need to be careful with him. He had a stress reaction in 2019. He had a couple of consecutive seasons with just a ton of hamstring issues. I think that giving him a day off once in a while is not a big deal. And if you look at his games played and plate appearances, he's played almost every game. So I just think that in this case, that it was a little bit of an overreaction. Maybe somebody spoke to somebody. It didn't happen to come my way. Although I'm in the clubhouse, nobody said to me, yeah, this guy, he's a malingerer or anything like that. So I think at that point, Torey needs to come out, defend his player, try to keep him, in the right frame of mind to get the most out of him. He's clearly not an easy guy to manage in that regard. He's, emotional and so forth, but aren't we all?
I mean, I hear what you're saying and that he's got to defend him, but how many other times have you heard when you're covering the team, players asking for a day off? I mean, the fact that came out based on what some other people wrote, is that a normal thing?
I think, again, like, look, you've been a player in a major league clubhouse.
Right.
I don't know how normal it is for a player to go to a manager and say, "Hey, I'm beat up. I can't go today." You have to tell me that. I mean, because I'm not in that trainer's room. There was a discussion. I know for a fact that it was a discussion between Ketel and the medical staff. And he just said he was hurting and he needed a day off. So you guys tell me, you're the players, how often does that actually happen? I can't really speak to that. As much as I'm in the clubhouse, you know how it is nowadays. You walk in the clubhouse and there's nobody there. They're all off at meetings and in the batting cages and in the trainer's room. They have a very good system now to pretty much duck the media, and we most of the time really only get them in scrums and group sessions. So it's a little tougher to actually dig deep on that, unless you're Bob Nightingale, who has a little bit better sources than I do, quite frankly.
Yeah,
Jack.
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I mean, I listen, I've seen guys ask out on days, but then there's always that little, I mean, Kratz, am I wrong? Oh, he doesn't want to face, and I don't know Ketel Marte other than I've said hello to him a couple times, and I played with guys that, hey, we used to joke about it, like, hey, you got Pedroitis or Salitis or Randy Johnsonitis or whatever it was, Nolan Ryanitis. Ryanitis was a big one in the 80s and 90s. Like, Nobody wanted to face Nolan Ryan. So I'm not saying that, but like the fact that I don't know, especially he was hot too at the time, and the Dodgers are in first place, and they're trying. I'm not going to say anything on it because I'm not in that clubhouse. But yes, have guys asked out before? Yes. Do guys then have murmurs and whispers behind them, or even to their face? Teams I was on, absolutely.
Yeah. One other little wrinkle on this, from the way Torrey described it, I think that he had actually asked out the night before, and Torrey said, "No, I need you to play tonight. I'll give you tomorrow off." And look, Torrey's never going to admit, but if you're looking at that 4-game series with the Dodgers, and you have to pick one game that you're probably almost certainly going to lose, it's going to be the one with Ohtani pitching. And so, and they got smoked. They got, shut out 7-0, I think. So is that something that a manager's going to say publicly? No, there's no way he's going to wave the white flag. But if you have to pick a game, it's actually the one that you probably have very little chance to win, and that might have been it. So maybe that was a manager's choice to push it off one day instead of letting him take off the second game of the series, let him take off the game against Ohtani that they're probably not going to win anyway.
Ketel Marte is one, and maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here based on what you're saying, but he's an MVP candidate for plenty of years of his career. Is there somebody on this team that would be that guy, that what AJ said, like maybe say something to his face, or is that not how this team works? And that's kind of why I asked you if like other guys on the team, you had heard other guys on the Diamondbacks have done this.
Yeah, my sense is that there might be a guy or two that could do that. Again, you guys have been in locker rooms. I think it's a little tougher, say, for a veteran pitcher to go and have that conversation with a position player. It usually has to be another position player. In this case, maybe even a Latin player. Perhaps if Carlos Santana wasn't hurt and he was, not up on rehab assignment in Reno, he'd have been that guy. I know back in the day, Christian Walker could have been that guy very easily. But right now, Ketel's kind of one of the elder statesmen, right? Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is not really a real vocal, type of person that's probably going to be aggressive in that way and trying to get a player in line. Maybe catcher James McCann could do that, but he's on the IL and he's not been in the clubhouse lately. So, they don't really seem to have that type of leadership in the clubhouse. If that's a defect in the clubhouse, that would be the one for me.
Okay. First of all, I want to make this clear. We're not taking shots at Ketel Marte at all. I don't know Ketel Marte. Like I said, Kratz doesn't know Ketel Marte. We're just teams I was on in the past and teams Kratz were on in the past. I know how it's handled. Today's could be totally different, Jack, in their clubhouse. I don't know, so I want to make that abundantly clear that we are not taking shots at Ketel. I actually think he's a hell of a player, and I would love him versus Ohtani is a hell of a matchup. It's one I'd tune in for, right? So anyways, we're going to move on past that. We're going to talk about something a little bit better now. We got a guy that comes on the show regularly. He's one of our favorites, Paul Sewald. What has he meant to this team? I mean, he's still getting it done. He's saving games. People look at his stuff and say, how the heck does this guy come in and save games? But he's getting it done this year for the Snakes.
Yeah, it's been incredible. 18 for 19. I mean, we talk about the All-Star game. If he keeps this up for another month, he's going to be on the All-Star team. I mean, if he leads the league in saves and keeps his ERA about where it's at, then why wouldn't he be? It's really been a great run for him. I mean, he gets it done with deception. We have an article up on Arizona Diamondbacks on SI. I got to interview him with him last night. I kind of passed that audio on to our publisher and let him write it up. I was working on other things. But Paul, he talked about back in 2020, 21, he kind of figured out, look, I've got to be a deception guy. He comes at it with that low arm angle. Everyone's expecting a sinker, but he's thrown at the top of the zone. He gets right on the pitch. And so it's only 91.5 miles an hour. But, you look at the weak contact and the pop-ups and mostly weak fly balls and, of course, a ton of strikeouts and swing and miss. It's amazing. You kind of put him alongside Mason Miller and you look at like the expected batting averages and things like that on his fastball, it's like, he's right alongside Mason Miller, and there's 10 miles an hour difference in the speed of their fastball. So and he's such a good dude. I mean, he's such a good person and fun to talk to and self-effacing, and he's humble. So, you always root for a guy like that to have success. So seeing him doing what he's doing for the Diamondbacks right now, on a human level, gives a lot of satisfaction. And boy, it's what they need. I mean, they're scraping through it. I mean, if you look at a lot of the underlying stuff, for example, the biggest difference maybe between the D-backs and the Angels is, where they are with closing. Sewald's 18 for 19, and meanwhile the Angels have 7 saves and 14 blown saves. So, that's the biggest difference in the two teams right now.
All right, well, let's go to two guys who are making quite a bit of money in Diamondback standards, in Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen. Is that where Torey Lovullo's saying, okay, we're actually not playing as well as we could right now because they think those guys will turn it around? Or has the track record been Zach Gallen's, maybe this is where he's at right now at this point in his career?
Yeah, with Zach in particular, they made a decision to bring him back, right? I think it's 22 million with a bunch of deferred money, net present value 18 million. That's a big chunk of change for this team. And I think they expected, based on his second half last year, that he would have more success. And unfortunately, it's not been there. It's not been consistent. He is coming off a quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs. But you see there his ERA's, well up over 5. His whip is over 1.5. He's just struggling. He's not getting any swing and miss on the fastball. And it's weird because his fastball velocity is about the same. It hasn't really changed, but just the quality of the pitch and the ability to get swing and miss on it isn't there. His curveball isn't getting the same depth. He's just not getting the chase and swing and miss on it that you would expect. And, it's all come home to roost. And it's been a rough, 1.5 year run here for Zach. So, I mean, clearly he needs to get turned around, but he's not going to be DFA'd or anything like that. They just don't have enough depth in the rotation. They're going to send him out there. I mean, the worst case scenario for Zach Gallen would be that he at some point got sent to the bullpen, but they don't have the depth to do that either. So they just got to ride with it and do the best that they can to get out of him what they need. With Merrill Kelly, it's a little bit different. He had a back injury in spring training, intercostal nerve irritation. And I think that they probably brought him back a little bit too soon. He only had like 1 real rehab assignment. In his first 4 games back, he was spraying the ball all over the place, just did not have his command and control. And that's Merrill Kelly's game. I mean, he has to throw strikes. That's come around better since those first 4 starts. He did have 1 other blow-up outing recently, but his most recent outing was a good one. I think 6 innings, just a couple of runs. So he's probably turned it around. I feel a little bit better about Merrill Kelly to be able to, maybe hang in there with a sub-4 ERA for the rest of the season.
Jack, what about Waldschmidt? You mentioned not getting sent down, but he got sent down recently. Where does he still stand on the hierarchy with the Diamondbacks organization? When Gurriel came off, Waldschmidt got sent down. I was there when he made his debut. There was all this hype. He did okay, but is he still the top prospect that they think he's going to be?
I think he can be. He has to make some adjustments. The scouts talk about a little bit too steep of a swing path, leading to some more swing and miss. I think it was more about decisions at the plate, not being aggressive enough in the middle of the zone and a little bit too swing happy on chase. Just teams figured out, hey, we're going to throw this guy a ton of spin. I'm going to stop throwing him fastballs. And he wasn't able to make the counter adjustment quickly enough. Waldschmidt came up when they traded Alek Thomas. They also have Tommy Troy and Jorge Barrosa. Jorge Barrosa, great defender, 5th outfielder, but does not hit. Tommy Troy, maybe awkwardly for the Diamondbacks, had hit with a little bit of power. Since he's been up, he's hit a couple of home runs, whereas Waldschmidt hasn't homered yet. But Troy's playing time is going to be limited at some point once Gurriel stops DHing and plays more left field. And they really want Waldschmidt to play every day and get everyday at-bats. I don't know how you figure out how to hit major league spin playing in the PCL and in Reno. And there's definitely a criticism to be made that the Diamondbacks are not being patient enough with some of their younger players. They also optioned out Jose Fernandez, who has a lot of tools, but was struggling to lay off the spin as well. So I think that Waldschmidt will be back soon, maybe in a month or so, certainly no later than the trade deadline. He's going to be back up here. It's just a matter of what he does and what adjustments he's able to make. But again, how do you adjust and figure out Major League spin playing in Reno? I don't know.
That's a good point. There's a big gap between AAA and MLB. He's fun to watch on defense, so I hope he gets back up there soon. He's a spark plug out there. He's fun. Jack, good stuff. Snakes Territory shop.com if you like the logo and you're a Snakes fan. Otherwise, make sure you subscribe to the show, give them love, even if you're not a D-backs fan. Jack's a nice guy, so let's give Snakes Territory a little bit of love. They do good stuff over there. Jack, great catching up with you. Thank you so much for the info. We'll catch you soon.
Good to talk to you all. Take care.
You too. Oh, boy. Grayson Rodriguez to the IL. I mean, can't keep him out there, man. It's the back barking now. Him and Troy Melton. Melton, I don't think hit the shelf yet, as far as I know, but he was supposed to pitch yesterday, and he got scratched with back tightness. But for Grayson, it's the back, low back inflammation. Drew Pomerantz DFA'd. If you don't recognize the current Angels, it's because most of the roster doesn't look like it did at the start of the year.
No. But they do have one guy that's pretty good, and he's pitching tonight.
Oh, is
Detmers.
Detmers pitching tonight? Yeah.
Sucks for Grayson. We just had him on. He was so excited to be back out there. He missed a year. So it sucks, man. Injuries suck. We always talk about it, but injuries suck.
They do. Does Detmers have better numbers than Soriano now?
Close.
Let's see.
We're close
Probably
now.
279 for Soriano, 87 innings.
I think
And
Detmers is like 2-4.
Yeah, he's got better numbers.
Detmers strikes out a lot of guys, too.
Oh, no, he doesn't. He's got a 4. Yeah, he strikes out way more. Yeah, he's still got a 4. I mean, he had a pretty slow start, but then he's rolling right now. There's the rotation.
Yeah, but
for
97 punch-outs, 81 innings.
That'll play.
I found out it was November 19th that I said, how do the Orioles trade Grayson Rodriguez with years of control as a starting pitcher? And somebody hit me back on Twitter, and I said, well, you know what? I was wrong. But the reality is, if you can figure it out, they still have control of him. Taylor Ward, he's gone after this year. So
Yep.
I just have a hard time getting rid of starting pitching, youthful starting pitching. I get it. He's been hurt. You don't want to see this. I was wrong. I didn't say he wasn't going to get hurt. I just have a hard time seeing teams get rid of really good starting pitching. That's young.
Yeah. And for the Angels, I mean, they've struggled in that department forever. So they weren't going to win this year regardless. Taylor Ward was not going to be the difference maker for the Angels.
For sure not.
Detmers, it's surprising. Detmers, I mean, the last, few starts he's been on a heater. But, I mean, he had May 19th, 8 runs and 5 2/3. That really
his last 5
smacked the
starts have
ERA.
been good, though.
Yeah. He's starting to get on a roll. He's got good stuff. Teams want him. He's a guy teams
He's
call
a guy
all the
that
time.
I could definitely see being moved.
Yeah. Teams always call like, oh, if we get our hands on him, he's going to be the next Kyle Harrison, in terms of putting it all together. He's got it. Dude's entertaining. Pete Crow-Armstrong with a cycle. It was a reverse straight. Homer, then a triple, then a double. Finished with a single. Was picked off right after that. Next pitch. But let's focus on the positives. 13th Cubs player to do it. First since last July. Byron Buxton. And it was a wild game.
It would have sucked if they would have lost. They came back
know.
and won. But granted, they were playing the Rockies.
Rockies have been giving them a fight.
Yeah, but I mean, the Rockies bullpen is... Oof.
Not good.
But I know But if he hit the cycle and they were losing, and I was like, they're losing, and he's got the. Usually when your guy hits for the cycle, like your team is crushing the other team, and they were losing 4-2 at the time. Then they came back and scored 3 and all that. So, but PCA, you talk about being on a heater. PCA has been on a heater ever since. The team hasn't been doing good, but PCA has been doing good. He's like the one player when you turn on the Cubs game, you're like, all right, I want to see PCA what he's going to do. Now he has made some mistakes in the field, but he's improved that. I mean, look, he's 277, which, used to not be that great. But, I'm just amazed every time we show these batting averages for every team. It's like, damn. But you see his numbers. He's one of the best players going right now, and he is fun as hell to watch. I love this guy. I've said it since day one. I love watching this dude play, and he's an all-star right now. He truly is an all-star right now.
Oh, yeah, Kratz. He's been inconsistent, although that was the case last year where it was a tale of two halves. This year it's been more like a tale of different months, but the defense is always there too. And even if there's a gaffe here and there, he's the best defender in center field in the sport.
Ayers, Dwayne Murphy, I think he won 3 Gold Gloves, said about playing elite outfield defense. He was like, you know what? You're going to have errors. But the good outfielders, especially good center fielders, they track balls down. They make your right and left fielders better. And that's what PCA does. Yes, I get it. He's lost balls in the sun. He dropped a fly ball. Like, those are things that happen. You're going to have your errors. It's just a matter of what balls he gets to. Those are the game changers. Those are the plays that keep him in the game. And the fact that the one cycle I'll never forget was Christian Yelich hit for his second cycle, and it was against the Reds. I think we ended up winning the game like 13-11, but every single one of his, I think he had 5 hits that game. Every single one of his hits went for like the game tying RBI or go ahead RBI at each point in the game. So for PCA to have, they were losing 2-1 and he had the cycle at first base, you're like, all right, whatever. Wait, what? He gets picked off? Well, that's kind of a big deal. Like, it was great. It's so rare that you see something like that, let alone the fact that he did it in reverse order, like hardest to easiest. He rarely goes that way.
Mm-hmm. It was unique.
Well, the hardest is the triple.
Yes.
So he did it. He did a reverse. Yeah. Homer, triple, double, single, pickoff.
Not easy to triple in
Fenway or Wrigley. It's hard.
Yeah.
Not even I could get a triple in a Wrigley, and I had speed to burn.
You couldn't do it. Who could?
That was my only chance of a triple. When I found out I didn't have a triple at the end of my career, my only chance for a triple was thwarted by Ben Zobrist. I hit a Lester backdoor cutter down the first base line, and Ben Zobrist made this like dive against the wall because there's no foul territory there. It was like rolling right down the line, and he like dove to stop it, and Moose was on first, and I got to second. Had it gone by him, it would have been easy stand-up triple, my only triple in my career. So then I could have said I had a cycle in my career. Not in a game, in my entire career.
Well,
some of us have walk-off triples, Kratz. Sorry about it. Figure out how you get a walk-off triple, by the way. Mm-hmm.
Speed.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Walk-off
stand when
triple.
Announcers say he's a triple shy of the cycle. Please don't say that. That's not. You're just having a good day. You have 3 hits. Let's keep it at that. Now, if you're like a single shy, double shy, that's fine. Don't say a triple shy of the cycle. Like, triples in the big leagues are really hard to come by.
Ken in the chat said, why does anyone throw PCA a strike? Makes no sense. Chase rate's like 40%. We used to say that about Javi Baez when he was a star, and about AJ. So, answer the...
You want to know why they do? Because pitchers are conditioned to throw strikes.
Yes.
And they throw strikes. They're not conditioned to throw balls. They're told their whole life, throw it over the plate. Especially, you know what? Especially the really good pitchers. That's what's funny is like people are like, oh, who'd you hit well? And I'm like, Maddox. Why? Because he threw it over the plate. It was the guys that couldn't throw it over the plate that I was suck against because Greinke, sure, I'll hit him all day long because he threw it over the plate. Right. It was the dudes that couldn't throw a strike that I was like, oh, swing at the one up here, swing at the one in the dirt. The guys threw it over the plate. Those are the dudes you could hit.
Guys that got you out of the zone, worse quality of contact generally.
But
right?
but their misses are smaller too. Like those guys, Maddox and those guys that were strike throwers, their misses were smaller. Even if they're trying to throw it out of the strike zone, Maddox is out of the zone was like this far. I could hit that still.
Well, that's the blessing and the curse is you can get to those pitches out of the zone, and that leads to hits. Now there's a line. If it's a non-competitive pitch, I mean, it gets spit out by you or PCA. But I mean, the point is there. The chase percentage actual 38%. It's 11th percentile. So,
It's not actually that bad. There's people that are way higher than that. Obviously,
yeah,
way higher.
10% of the league is worse than that. So
try to get a big league pitcher who's been established, when you tell them, like, this guy is 0-2. We used to say about Javi Baez, he's 0-2 all the time. They'd be like, huh? What does that mean? It means if you're 2-0, you're still an 0-2 count, because 2-0 big league pitchers, they're now like, okay, I'm missing on half the plate here. I might even just throw one, in that area, and I'm totally fine. We'll see a contact. Those type of guys, you got to be like, hey, who cares? I don't care if it's 3-1. You're 0-2. Think you're 0-2. And they're like, huh? It just means that you expand the zone at all times because they'll help you out. But let's put it this way. PCA is not Javi Baez. We're not trying to – Javi Baez was another elite level as far as chase and contact and damage outside of the zone.
PCA is pretty good, though, right now.
He's good.
PCA got paid, too.
Oh, no. I mean, Javi chased everything. PCA is really good.
Yeah, PCA
PCA's gotten a lot better than where he was too.
He's gotten better, and chasing is chasing. If it's out of the zone, right? If it's a few inches out of the zone, you chased, right? Watch PCA chases. There's some that are like, whoa, but watch Javi Baez chases. That's another level of chase.
Yeah. I mean, there's memes all over the place of him.
Yeah, we're like, that's in another area code, and he went for it. That's just how unique Javi Baez is. And when he had that little run where he was getting MVP votes,
18.
That's pretty incredible that he was able to do that, hitting many pitches that were well outside of the zone and turning them into
Chicago.
Legit contact. Yep, exactly. Hey, let's get to another outfielder ready to join us in a few minutes. When we come back from break, we're getting Tommy Pham set to go. Here we are. Here's your boy, Kratz, Gabriel Rincones Jr. First career hit was a homer yesterday against Miami in a shutout win for Zach Wheeler, who's been dealing quietly. Thoughts on this one?
I mean, I heard a lot about him. One of the coaches on my high school team is the bullpen catcher with the Phillies, and I'd heard like, hey, you know what, this guy, he's a little bit different. They don't have a lot going on down at Lehigh right now, but he was a little bit different. And the fact that his first big league hit's a homer, I always thought that'd be so cool. I know it took him a couple days. I think he made his debut on Friday. So you get your first hit then Monday at home, and it's a dinger. That's pretty cool.
Yep. One more from yesterday.
It was a bomb, by the way, too, if you didn't see it.
Yeah. Few bombs from Colt Keith yesterday, too.
I know he had one, didn't he, going into there, and he hit 3?
Took him a while to get one. I think he had one.
Yeah. He
got
was
his
on
first.
the Tatis program, and then he got one, and he's got 4. He doubled him.
He's strong. I mean, he should have
He's a big guy.
25 home
big boy.
power. He is. So that was a 9-3 win for the Tigers yesterday. K-Way Tang had been really good, and then he's starting to unravel for the Astros. They're patching together the rotation. It's been
They get Hunter Brown
tough.
back tonight, though.
Hunter Brown is good. That will help.
Well, we'll see how, first start back, we'll see.
Yeah.
But, again, it's like Scoville. You can't throw all the team's hopes on one guy.
Especially
everyone
not a starter.
to get better. One starter.
Yeah. Once a week relying on the guy. It does help if they can go deep into games because it starts to fall apart with the bullpens when guys aren't giving you length, right?
Yes.
Amai's been a huge issue with that, where it's like you watch and you're like, he doesn't have it. Get the bullpen going early. That's part of the problem here too. You hope that some of these guys come back, and even on their worst days, they gave you 6, maybe 7. Stuff like that's important too. Go ahead, Kratz.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you don't have 6 guys in the bullpen that are just going to be able to cover 6 innings on certain nights. So when guys are only giving you 3 or 4, you're going to get to the underbelly of your bullpen, which is just going to cause more havoc later down the road in the series, all that stuff. It's a tough spot to be for Espada when he's making those moves.
Yeah. We're starting to see that with the Pirates too, actually, where they're not letting their guys go deep, then their bullpen's falling apart.
And
All right, today's player guest is Tommy Pham joining us right now. Tommy, it's been a minute. It's great to have you on. We always appreciate the time. I know you're trying to figure out your next move. So how you doing right now? How you holding up?
I'm good, frustrated, a little bit of everything. At the same time, you just have to keep preparing, keep training, for the next opportunity. Preparation kind of always meets opportunity.
hold up. First of all, you got no sleeves on. I mean, we got to. Can we get a gun show, man? Come on.
I'm in great shape. Let's just say that I'm in great shape. You guys, I played with you and Kratzy, so you guys know the type of conditioning and physicality I'm in.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. I knew you when you were just a young pup, and you were jacked back then, and you're still jacked, even though now you're an unk now. So you're an unk. So what's it been like though? I mean, honestly, because you've had a nice career and you've done a lot of good things, and everyone that plays with you talks about what a good dude you are, and then here you are. Has teams called? Have teams called? I know you just opted out of the Orioles, but have teams called for you to come and say, "Hey, we need a spot somewhere on our outfield"?
Well, I opted out Friday. As you guys know, my opt-out day was June 12th. And, basically the Orioles had till June 12th to call me up. I started to find, as a ball player, when once you find your rhythm and you feel like you're getting going, that day for me was not this past Sunday, of course, but the Sunday before. That's when I felt like, okay, that was the first day actually I squared up a fastball. That's when I knew like, okay, I'm getting there and I'm close. Then later on in the week, I kept barreling up more fastballs, so I knew I was ready. I batted 200 in AAA, but I was at home for a month, basically just going to the cages, and once I found my timing, I was good. I was better than the numbers showed. We do have teams interested right now because they seen kind of how I was starting to get going, and quite honestly, there's teams that need an outfielder right now. So I'm training hard, staying ready because I believe I can still help a team, man. There's a lot of things that I've worked on, and there's a lot of things I know I could still do, and I just would love an opportunity.
Do you feel like that opportunity has to be, okay, go and try out again at AAA? Basically, I know it's not a tryout, but essentially as a player, you're trying to say, well, I am ready. Are you waiting for a big league deal? Are you waiting for a shorter opt-out? Because last time it was about a month-long opt-out that you had. Like, are you looking for more like a, hey, I'll go to AAA for 10 days? What is your preference besides, yeah, I'm ready to go right to the big leagues?
I don't mind going to AAA, to be honest with you, because, right now, essentially, I haven't played since Friday, but I know I'm still ready. It's only been a few days, and I know I'm ready. When I left, you guys gotta kind of fair with me right here. I didn't have a spring training this year. I signed opening day with the Mets. Then I had about 2 weeks to get ready, and I wasn't ready with the Mets. My hand was kind of forced a little bit over there, and on the Mets, I had 4 starts in 2 weeks. Considering, I didn't have a spring training, that's a little tough. You guys played, you guys know it. Um, essentially, if you didn't have a spring training, how long do you think it would take, you and AJ to get ready?
No, I agree. I want you to walk me through that because I always went to spring training. I never had that. So I want you to explain to people at home how hard that is because we see pitchers, right? Jordan Montgomery did it. There's a whole list of pitchers and position players the last few years that were free agents. They signed late. Blake Snell, right? I think Matt Chapman was another one. There's a whole list of them that have signed late and then they struggle. And it takes them almost the whole year to get back to where they are. So as someone that now has done it, explain how hard that is to get through without that 6 weeks of spring training.
It's not impossible, but you're right. It's not easy. In 24, when I signed late with the White Sox, I was flying to Cressy's spot in Florida every week. Basically they threw lives on Friday. Every Friday I was going out to Cressy's. This year I didn't do that. I did it once, and I got about 10 at bats. When I was there, I faced Scherzer, LaCasey, Corbin, and what's his name on the Nationals? Littell. I faced those 4 guys, and I remember doing that, and I was so tired. I was just like, man, I'm not doing this year. I'm not flying out to Cressy's because I'm in Vegas right now. I'm not going coast to coast every week just to face live. And I'm on the pitcher schedule. If they threw Friday, then their next live might be Wednesday. So it's kind of hard for me to do that. So after that first live, and I believe it was late February when I did that, I didn't see another live pitch until I reported to the Mets spring training. And there I had 5 lives, 5 days of lives before I hopped in the low A games. And I played 4 low A games. You know what's funny? My first 9-inning game was in the big leagues with the Mets. I didn't play a 9-inning game until I got to the big leagues. I played I was building up, 5 innings, 5 innings. Then I played at 7 on that Saturday. Then the Sunday before I flew out, I played 4 innings. So I kind of laugh at that because I said, yeah, my first 9 innings was in the big leagues in a big league game. But physically, I'm in great shape. It's just always getting your timing down and your rhythm as a hitter. Let me walk you through AAA. I signed with the Orioles. I had 2 days in Sarasota. The third day I showed up and they were like, we don't have any lives. And they told me the next lives were, 4 days from that Friday. And when they told me that, they were like, you could hop in extended games. And extended games, those young studs, man, they throw 100 and they don't necessarily know where it's going. So, you don't feel comfortable in the box, when someone like me. And the last thing you want to do is get hit and get hurt to where, now you break a bone in your wrist or whatever from an errant throw and you're out. So I was just like, forget it. I'll go to AAA. I said, the first week might be ugly in AAA because I haven't played in a month, but I said once I get my timing, I'll be good. And it took me about 7 games to finally, get a better feel. Then once I got my fastball timing, I felt way more comfortable at the plate because as a hitter, once you know you can't get beat by a fastball, everything else is easier.
Yeah, you can never get in the box in extended. That's what Morton Davis, one of my good friends from early in the days of playing, said. Those are gunslingers. You can't be getting in the box with gunslingers. You never know if you're going to get hit.
Yeah, hey, man, there was a kid, he was throwing upper 90s to 100, and he threw two fastballs up and in for balls, and he was breaking off sliders for strikes, low and away. And I was just like, man, I don't know if this is intentional or if, right now he just can't locate, he can't throw his heater for strikes. So it's uncomfortable. I mean, you guys know it.
All right, when you were at the Mets, you were talking about, okay, I didn't get enough at bats. I got the lives, and then I got 12 ABs and low A. Do you feel like you were able to communicate to the Mets, you know what, I might not be ready here? Or is it one of those things that you're like, I'm a non-roster guy. They're calling me up to the big leagues. I just got to try to figure it out on my own. Or was it something that you did communicate that with them?
No, I mean, kind of how that phone call went with, my agency and the Mets was, kind of like a forced hand. But, I thought I would find my time. And I knew I wasn't quite there, but I thought, from what they were telling my agency is, I was going to get a little bit of run. And that didn't necessarily happen. So, to not fully have your timing and be put in a platoon situation is really tough. It's really tough. But now I would say now that I have my timing, being put in a platoon situation would be a lot different because I know I have my fastball timing. So it's just, different circumstances. And, you got to remember when I joined the Mets, it was a situation where, kind of panic mode. The team was kind of spiraling. When I joined the Mets, they might have lost, 6 of the past 7 games, something like that. And I was a part of that stretch where, we lost 12 in a row. So it's just, things happen. It just didn't work out it didn't work out for me.
Yeah, not right spot, not right time. When you're seeing other right-handed hitters in the outfield that teams need badly, what do you feel like teams are missing when they're going out and getting those guys? Not throwing shade at any one particular team or player, but what are they missing that you feel like you add?
The game has changed in a sense from what I've seen. I've talked to coaches about this. I mean, I even talked to, front offices. I asked them to be completely honest with me. Now there's teams that are going into the season that just are saying, hey, we're rebuilding. We're not looking to add because we're rebuilding. And then, you see right now, a lot of these rebuilding teams are actually playing really good. So if you look at what if they would have possibly added, because I'm a fan of the game at the end of the day. I love baseball. And, I'm also a player. If every team was in it to win at the beginning at the beginning of the offseason, how much better would some of these teams be that are in first or second place in the division this year? A lot of this too is a byproduct of this current CBA. A lot of people, fans, and people in the game really don't understand it. But I've been at the negotiation table twice now with the owners. A lot of this is a byproduct of the CBA, and there's nothing really I can do until that gets fixed. There's been, I've been a free agent since 22. 22 was my first year as a free agent. I've had teams tell me no in free agency that they're going to run with the young guy, which is perfectly fine, only for them to try to trade for me or trade for me at the deadline. So, just think about that.
Tommy, what's the fix though? What's the fix? Because all we hear is salary cap and the young guys need to be paid more. And I've been fighting. I've said this for years that the middle class is kind of, you have your top stars, and the more the minimum goes up, right, the more that the teams want to rely on the young guys. So you squeeze out that middle class, the veteran guy, the guys when I first came up, the 15-year, 10-year, 12-year vet that would play for, I'll use 3 million, 4 million, 5, whatever that middle area is. But teams like, we don't value that experience. We don't value that. We value paying a young guy 750, 800 grand, and we'll pay our stars. So what's the fix? Is there a fix that can be found in the CBA that's up this year?
I proposed certain things last CBA, man, and it was shot down. That's something I'll talk to you guys privately. I don't want to dish out the players' problems. I feel like the players lost a lot of leverage. To be dead honest with you. I've been there. I've seen the negotiations after the 2016 season and after the 2021 season. Things were really in the players' hands, really in our favor, and we gave a lot of strengths up. So, they'll say that the game is going younger. What we're seeing now is more players are able to develop in the big leagues. Back in the day when I came up in from AAA on the Cardinals, we were really developed. We had to do a lot to get called up. And also, when we got our opportunity in the big leagues, there wasn't much of a leash. Back in the day, if I struggled for 2 weeks in the big leagues, I got sent down. That's just how it was back then. And today, it's not necessarily like that. Guys have such a long leash that, teams are willing to ride with that. And I think it's costing wins. As a veteran in the game, it's frustrating too, because just think about, when I was on the White Sox, for instance, how many guys that we were calling guys up from AA that weren't ready. And the coaches were frustrated about that, because they knew that the kids weren't ready. So you would see guys get called up who weren't ready. Then, you burn through their options. And now these guys are in AAA without any options. And it's hard for them to get back into the league just from, circumstances. But it's how it is. You ask how I can help a team. I feel like, last year I made humongous strides defensively. And everyone saw that from the previous year. Then hitting, I control the strike zone really well. And with the ABS system, that's only going to benefit me, and I feel like I've made improvement with my swing and vision that can only help me perform even better. In AAA, once I got everything down, I hit 4 home runs in like the past 10 games. I'm barreling the ball up like crazy right now, and I got my fastball timing, so I'm ready.
All right, there's one thing that Tommy Pham wants to do, and that's win. Did you see the whole Jose Caballero thing with the pitch clock and him kind of manipulating it and then the other team getting pissed? Did you see that?
Yeah, that's his thing. That's the only way I could put it. If you don't like it, just get him out. Ultimately, success is the best revenge. Of course, it's gonna make one side of the game mad more than the other. Just if you don't like it, get him out. It's like, it's kind of one of those situations where, if a guy pimps a home run, I get it. You're mad, but ultimately, if you come back and you strike him out and punt and get him out the rest of the series, who has the last laugh? It's one of those things.
Tommy, how many times did you tap your helmet? You were in AAA. How many times did you have been doing this if you was hitting in the big leagues right now with the zone as small as it is? How good were you at it? Did you get to tap your helmet down in AAA very much?
I didn't do it just from the circumstance of the game. Like I was mindful of that. There was one time I wanted to do it, and it wouldn't have made a difference at all in the at bat. So I take in consideration that. Now, if it was like a situation where I felt like the umpire missed the call and and he punches me out, then that's different to me. But altering the count, from um, you know, maybe 1-1 or 1-0 to 1-1, or I'm sorry, 1-0 to 2-0 to 1-1, like that's not much of a difference in AAA for me. Like it has to be a pretty obvious call missed. Like I'm seeing guys tap their helmet and they're missing by point 0.1 of an inch. Like that tells me you truly don't know the zone. Like it has to be a big miss for me. If the umpire misses by point 0.1, point 0.2 of an inch, that come on, that's not gonna kill me. You know what I'm saying? But if it's a call where I'm walking back to the dugout or I'm getting on first, yeah, then and it's a big missed call, by point 0.5 or greater, then that's a difference maker for me.
Yeah, the point ones to me are luck, right? You're like literally. I mean,
That's
it's just
that's
that's luck. That's literally
that's
you're flipping a coin and hoping.
I've seen so much of that. Then I've seen so many catchers on both sides tap their helmet on balls, and I'm like, how are you tapping your helmet on that? You're right behind home plate. You should see that perfect, especially east to west. North to south, I could give you a little bit more leniency, but east to west, like how are you? You can't miss big east to west. Like you should be able to see where the ball hits that corner. You're right behind the plate perfectly.
Okay, sometimes we go blind, Tommy. Sometimes we just close our eyes and we hope.
Yeah,
Right. So I can't.
well, too. These guys are throwing 100 with movement now, so it's the game. The game has gotten better in a sense. The thing I did notice in AAA is um, it's kind of like back in the day. Whoever hits the fastball the best, that guy's a big leaguer. Whoever can hit the fastball and control the zone, that guy's going to have some success in the big leagues. And what I saw was a lot of guys aren't doing that in AAA.
Wow. Okay. All right. We just had. I know you played with the Diamondbacks and Ketel Marte for a little while, but I have a question for you. We had this conversation, and there was a report that he didn't play. He asked not to play against Ohtani. We had it cleared up a little bit where he actually asked the night before, and Torrey said, "I'll play tonight, and I'll give you tomorrow off." Ketel Marte. You played with him. Also, I played with you, and back when I played with you, it was a different era. And if you asked for a day off, guys were going to give you a little bit of grief about it, right? They'd say, "Oh, you're scared to face this guy." Matt Holliday would have said, "Hey, I don't want to play against Johnny Cueto." Somebody was going to say, Wainwright or Matt Carpenter was going to say, "Oh man, what's the matter? You scared of that guy?" That's just the way things worked, right? Not that he was, but you know how it is. So Ketel Marte. Give us your take on Ketel Marte, because it's a weird dynamic of he's your best. He can be your best player. He could change the game with one swing. But I don't know. It's a weird dynamic for me.
Yeah, back then it was different, man. If I asked to sit, they I, they assumed I was hurt. Now, guys get mental breaks to sit. I wasn't brought up that way. I had to learn to play hurt, and I still play hurt. That's just a part of me now. Cattell is a great friend of mine. Honestly, he was when I got traded over to Arizona, I would go over his house, just after a game, and we'll spend time together playing dominoes and doing whatever. His family cooking for me, like we developed a really close relationship. So I'm gonna be biased here because of my relationship with Cattell. He's a stud player. And if anything, he's battled through a lot of injuries in his past. I would want to make sure he's happy rather than pissed off. because you know when he's right, he could carry your team. He carried us that Philly series in 23 in the playoffs. You know, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have got past Philly. That's just the truth. The first 5 games, none of us were hitting but Cattell. Cattell carried us. He kept us in that series. So, you know, the seasons he's given the Diamondbacks, if anything, man, I feel like the organization owes him a lot. I know they just broke him off, so you could say, well, you know, we've paid him for, you know, what he's done, but the player has always given more to the organization than the organization gives to the player. That's just the way it works out as athletes. You know, you're usually giving them back, you know, 2 to 3x on the return than what they're giving you.
Yeah, it's a good call.
And
That's surplus
I
value.
think, I think Cattell has given that organization way more. I mean, you can look it up. You know, the seasons he's produced, it's given that organization X amount of dollars. Because at the end of the day, this is a business, and we as players and the fans have to always remember that this is a business. The organizations are running this more so ever like a business, and you got to treat it that way. And I mean that's just kind of where I am. Being home right now, it's not like, you know, I'm going to cost the organization a lot of money. You know, I was signed for 1.2 with the Orioles, and that is prorated. So what would I get? Half of that? I'm basically paying for playing for minimum right now. I think that is extremely valuable as well for someone like me. You know, knowing how many teams right now need an outfielder and how little bargaining I have. So that's just something to throw in.
I agree.
Yeah. And by the way, you can be biased about a former teammate. Listen, if he's your friend, that's why I asked you the question, because you know him better than I know him. You know him better than Erik knows him. You know better than anybody. So if you want to be biased towards a guy, like him or hate him, it's great to hear that you like this guy and you know what he's all about. That's why we asked the question. So thank you.
And
I mean, it's. I'm sorry, man. It's just, you know, as a teammate, you know, when someone, you know, welcomes you over to their home, you know, to eat and, you know, spend time with his family, that says a lot to me as a person. You know,
For sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. No, I've heard good things there. So, and he's a superstar, you're right. And also, yeah, for you, Tommy, there's a lot of teams that, I mean, watching games every night can use some right-handed hitting outfield help. So we'll be watching. We're hoping you latch back on. Thanks for sharing the story a little bit with us, and we'll catch up with you soon. Really appreciate the time. You know that.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. That's Tommy Pham. Be right back. Hey, we're here. Few minutes, then TV crowd comes back. Mike Trout hadn't played at Chase Field in 11 years. Oppo homer in the 5th, first career at that park, 29th park he's homered in. So good for him. A couple other things from yesterday I didn't get to. Remember we talked about the Padres-Orioles beef? They suspended Marinaccio, although he's appealing.
I know. They have to do it, but come on.
I know.
Then why don't they suspend the guy who hit Bogaerts in the head?
Because the person who retaliates always gets punished the hardest.
Okay. Poor Trey Gibson. He's already been called up and sent down 5 times. Don't find the guy, too. Trey Gibson's the guy that hit him.
I don't know if we're going to get to the Mets, so I'll throw it in here. Christian Scott IL'd hip impingement. Mets got blasted yesterday. Tobias Myers was shelled. He's kind of bounced around. Senga's back
time.
To the rescue.
Ghost Fork is back.
He's back.
Not going anywhere close to the plate.
Not in Great American Small Park. Please do not make him throw in that park. Oh, wait, he's starting tonight.
He's starting. They need it. I mean, they're hurting again. It's one of those, you know how for some teams they fall apart and you're like, oh, they couldn't hit at all in the beginning and they couldn't hit yesterday. But like offense getting going a little bit. Now their rotation's in shambles. 20th in starting pitching ERA. Guys are going down. Like that's how nightmare seasons go. where you're like, oh, look, Bo's hitting now. And then you're like, oh, wait, now our starting pitching's a mess. Bullpen's been pretty good for them, but they're on a track to sell at the deadline. And that is some wild stuff. Second highest payroll in baseball.
Did you guys see the at-bat of Chase Burns and Juan Soto last night?
Oh, yeah. After he called the timeout, and then Burns is like, oh, yeah, watch this. Doors gone.
He knew exactly who he was facing. And credit to Chase Burns, first one goes to him. That was a fun at-bat to watch.
Chase Burns is stupid good stuff-wise. He's just getting the training wheels off and learning on the fly, and it's really impressive. It's 2 drafts ago. I mean, this guy is lights out. And remember, the whole thing was, wait, they didn't pick Charlie Condon? No, because the Reds need arms, and it's not easy to recruit arms out there. And that method works. You draft them. It's smart.
If you can develop them.
Yes, which they're doing. Derek Johnson's great at that. Oof. We did it again. BetMGM Locks. It's called the FT Parlay. You mash it all up into a stew, and bang, it hits. Even when AJ and I had some similarities yesterday, part of his parlay, which hit. That was fun. You know what's fun? No sweat bet. Now, they didn't score again after, the 5th?
But they were 7-3.
7-3? Good night.
And Wheeler was shoving. As soon as the Phillies scored a run, that game was over.
So nice when you don't have to sweat. Yeah, Wheeler got a season high 9K. He's got a 2.01 ERA. Dylan Cruz hit that 3-run homer in the 5th. So anyway, things are looking good. Kratz, you got to go first. You're in the green.
Yeah, I was just trying to look up what the last night because I parlayed that together. I liked it so much. I think it was plus 541. And BetMGM gives us that nice little swing for the fences bonus that added another 15% to it. So anyway, I'm going first. I'm going to go run line for the Braves going up against the Giants. It's Hauser versus Holmes. Really, Drake Baldwin's just back. Drake Baldwin's back tonight, so I feel like the Braves offense just is going to outlast the Giants offense. Hauser's been off and on, all that stuff. Good little sinker. Kind of reinvented himself a little bit, but high ERAs. I feel like the Braves come out on top, and that's paying plus 118.
I like that. I'll tail it. We got to go quick here because we're behind on time. Michael King, for me, I think the Padres will win a low-scoring game against the Cardinals tonight. King has faced those guys and done really well against them. He did 6 innings, a hit and an earned run. Last time he faced them in early May. Plante, huge home road split. So I got the Padres plus 100. So 100 to win 100 for the team that might only score 1 or 2, but that could get it done tonight.
Yeah. All right, I got a big one, so I'm going to go quick. Dylan C, 6 strikeouts or more. Mariners over the Orioles. Cal's back. Braves over the Giants, just because of all the reasons Kratz said. He lost me after about 2 minutes. And Detmers for 5 strikeouts. And that gets me to plus 466.
Wow. Nice. Picks on the board.
All
plus money. Yeah. All plus money picks. If you want to go bold, there's AJ coming off a parlay banger yesterday. And if you'd like to get a little ad, you can try. Swing for the fences. Swing for a shot. It's a little video game within the BetMGM app. You pick a part of the zone. If you get a knock, you get something like a bonus or a boost token. Check it out. Gambling problem or concern? There's help. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Slap hands is, I think, not next. I think we're way behind.
Zach Neto, the mercurial shortstop, continues to frustrate many with his uneven on-field play. Neto made his major league leading 13th error on a potential double play grounder and struck out 4 times Friday night, but it was his reaction to an 8th inning bloop single that seemed to draw the ire of some. Mark, what did you see on that play?
It was a play that he really wasn't a great swing. I think that's what he was reacting to for the most part. Not much of an effort out of the box, and he actually got a hit on it. He's been very good or very lucky about salvaging something in these games where the beginning really is. I get asked a lot here, elsewhere, friends text, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
What's the deal? To be honest, I don't have a clue what the deal is. The first pitch of the series Friday night, McClanahan, first pitch of the bottom of the first inning. So it's not the first pitch of the game, but it is the first pitch the Angels are going to see. He hacks at a ball a foot and a half outside. I mean, the box pretty much explains a lot of it.
Yeah, here it is.
That number one, where is that?
It's not that down the middle fastball that Zach Neto usually likes to hit, is it?
No, I don't see any approach at all at the plate right now. Pure hacking, no fight with two strikes. A lot of weird swings, corkscrew, off balance. He seems to be entirely trying to do one thing and one thing only. It's the long ball. He's pimping balls that don't go out of the ballpark. He's pimping balls that go out by a mere foot. And the broadcasters are, saying, hey, he must have really known he got it. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it just was in case it did go out, I'm going to be up here looking cool.
Yeah,
it's like the demonstrative emotional stuff. It looks like somebody stole his lunch money. Really kind of pouting out there.
Hey, we're getting caught up on time because we gave extra time to Tommy Pham, warranted. So Hot Sheet is coming up online after our show on the Baseball America YouTube channel. It's moving month, so you see a lot of promotions across the minor leagues right now. It used to be Futures Game. Now they do it sooner. They're going to talk all about that. And Luis De La Torre is going to join that show. FT will be right back.
I think I have been the one on this podcast, Tyler, that has been, patient, that has said, no, there's a lot of season left. Like, been a little more pragmatic and like maybe more exercising a little bit of caution and exercising some patience in evaluating this season. But the time for that is like disappearing, right? Like they're 73 games in, which means this time next week it will be at the halfway mark of the season. And it is time for them to start making moves. Like if they want to seriously challenge for a playoff spot, if they want to seriously position themselves to be meaningful buyers at the trade deadline, they've got to win. I mean, I know that's very basic, but it's the truth. They've got to start winning series. They've got to start stacking wins. They've got to go on a run here. And and this was the part of the schedule when you looked at it. This should have been maybe the start of a possible run. You got the Angels, who are the worst team in the American League. You got the Royals, who are probably the second worst team in the American League. And quite frankly, you're a reckless Jose Altuve base running decision away from getting swept by the Angels. And then you win the series against the Royals, but the way you did it could not have left anyone feeling great. Sure, it was a 3-3 trip. They won the last series, which I guess is all that matters at the end of the day. But man, this was a disappointing 6 games for a team that needed to show that it could harness some momentum and really build and maybe start a run.
Yeah, good teams don't go 3-3 against the Angels and the Royals. And I think the Astros did it primarily because they're not a good baseball team. They're okay. They're fine. You can squint and see like some magic in there, but they're just, like you said, we're halfway through the season. They're just not that good of a baseball team.
Let us slap. I was looking at the guest list for the rest of the week. Jeff Passan is scheduled to join us tomorrow. We haven't had him on in a minute. Brandon Hyde, former Orioles manager, is scheduled to join us on Thursday.
Where is he, Kratz?
I do not know.
Is he in Orlando? Because his daughter used to play volleyball, and there's a huge volleyball tournament. Maybe we could get him on live.
Rays
Funny
is what I was just told.
Where at?
He's a senior advisor to the baseball operations department with the Rays.
Oh, that's great for him because he lives in the Tampa area.
It is. And he's latching on with a good team right now.
I like Brandon.
I love when you run into a random ex-big league manager. Freddie Gonzalez just randomly showed up at a game in the fall, and I was like, what on earth are you doing here in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania?
He lives there.
From around there. Some guys are home. You just don't think of those guys being home.
He lives there. He lives in outside Philly. Yeah.
Yeah.
There were 2 firings last year. I might be missing others, but Brandon Hyde and Derek Shelton, not your fault. Derek Shelton is managing a Twins team that has no business being this good right now. They're not great, but they're hanging around.
Brandon Hyde. Brandon Hyde had that team in the playoffs 2 years in a row.
And then they gave him negative pitching, and they fell apart. Shocker. Those 2 both got the raw end.
And now Craig Albornoz is dealing with it.
He is. But they had a much better offseason, and that's why they're at least in the mix. Last year, they were already a disaster, right?
True.
The Orioles, for all that's gone wrong, they're a few games under 500?
Everybody's in the wild card in the American League.
Right. But they're not like 15 under 500 or whatever. They're there. Pete's playing well lately again, obviously. Not surprising that the bat's coming along there. We're staying on for a few minutes like we do, and then we'll take you to Hot Sheet if you'd like to stay on for some prospect talk with Baseball America's Finest. So stick around, TV crowd. See you tomorrow. So when we go to the commercial breaks for TV, we often stay on here, and then usually like once or twice a show, we'll play a clip from another show on the FT network. We've got about 30. Love for you to check some of them out, subscribe to them if it's a team of yours, whatever it is, right? The ones we played today,
oh my God.
Kratz, AJ, and I were cracking up. First of all, Mark Trumbo is good. He delivers it. If things are going well, if things are not going well, and of course for the Angels, things are not going well, he does not hold back. And he watches every game. And when you hear him go over what's going on with Neto right now, both defensively and at the plate, he lays it out. And it's a guy with credibility. It's a guy who's watching the games. And he delivers in an entertaining way. So you don't want to see a guy play this poorly. But if that's happening, you're there for therapy. Halo Territory has it for you, Kratz. And, we were cracking up, too. Trumbo's delivery is good. Sometimes, don't you think sometimes a player like that, I'm not necessarily saying Neto because he's never come on the show. I don't know him for anything. He won't do interviews. But don't you think sometimes a player needs that kind of combo? Like, hey, dude, stop pimping singles or whatever he was talking about.
I think everybody needs to be kept in check. Obviously, I haven't watched enough Angels games, but what Trumbo's saying is what he's seeing. And this is a dude who was in the clubhouse. He's talked about it a lot in the clubhouse, and some things need to be said. It's cool on that show because he's saying what needs to be said, and fans get to hear it.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one, AJ and I then are watching Crush City territory with Chandler and Tyler, and they're like, the Astros just aren't good. And I will say, I mean, we were just mentioning the Orioles. They're 2.5 out of a wild card. The Astros are 4 out. They're 33-41. Like that's not good. But Hunter Brown is returning tonight.
Framber Valdez is returning tonight. Oh,
well, other side.
he's on a different team.
They also have a top 5 hitter easy in baseball.
Yeah.
He might be number 1 this year for players that are playing right now. I mean, Judge is hurt and not the same, with the injury right now. Yordan Alvarez
he's a monster.
Ridiculous. He's so fun to watch on ABs too. He is putting up MVP caliber numbers.
Yeah.
He's got a shot.
He's a monster. Yeah, if he
keeps the
stays
Astros-
healthy.
Yeah. And if he keeps the Astros in the mix.
We always say if. Why is it always if he stays
Because
healthy? It's not like it's always if. It's always if.
Because
I hope he wins.
injuries.
We need more.
I hope he wins the MVP because we'll go back and I'm going to have somebody go back and clip Scott saying he's an MVP. There's no chance he's ever going to win an MVP. I mean, he's a DH. There's no chance he wins an MVP. So it will be my vindication. Come on, Yordan. Hit 56 homers with 134 RBIs for your last place Astros.
I hope he does.
They're not in last place because they have the Angels in their division.
True.
Okay, second to last place.
Good game tonight. Watch that one. Framber against Hunter Brown.
Need it.
Fun show. Thanks, Tommy Pham. Great interview.